Shalom. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachak Kodash, for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that teach this truth, and Ruel Wabrakatham unto the elect. This is the brother Gabar from the Great Millstone Dallas branch. And this is going to be a part 2 of the last lesson I did, Dwell with Her, and You Dwell with Him. I wanted to go into some more precepts, specifically in Wisdom of Solomon. Might get some other ones from some other books, all right? But specifically from Wisdom of Solomon, going into wisdom, okay? And how powerful it is when you're walking with wisdom, because you're walking with Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, okay? So we're going to really start at Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9. And I'm going to start at verse 17. It says, "And thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom, and send thy Holy Spirit from above." Okay, which the Holy Spirit is that wisdom. Okay, so you can't know, all right, the counsel, the thoughts, all right, of the Most High, all right, except you have wisdom, all right. And I will say, we don't know the thoughts of the Most High. Okay, but the things that you need to know to save your soul, okay, to save your soul and possibly your household, you're going to need wisdom, okay, because wisdom guesses aright what's to come, all right, and the things that the Most High likes, okay. I'm going to read that again. It says, "In thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom," right? So the Lord has to give wisdom for you to understand what certain things that he's doing in the earth, okay. It says, "And send thy Holy Spirit from above," because that's where it comes from. Wisdom comes from above. Verse 18, it says, "For so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed, and men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom." Okay, so you see how powerful this wisdom is that Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai has sent from on high down here to you. And you tapping into that wisdom, that Holy Spirit, all right, is a very, very powerful move on the chessboard. Okay, because wisdom ordains and controls all things. The Lord uses wisdom to do these things, okay? All things are created through wisdom, okay? As it says in verse 18, it says, "And men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee." So how would they be taught the things that are pleasing unto the Lord? But through wisdom, okay? Through wisdom. The Lord is pleased with her, and he'll be pleased with you because you're walking with her, okay? And you can make it a choice to walk with wisdom more, and the Lord will be with you more, right? Now I want to jump into chapter 10, and it's going to be a quick hit. I'm going to bounce through this chapter 10 some. Chapter 10, let's get up here. Let's start at let's start at verse 7. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 7. It says, matter of fact, verse 6, it says, "When the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man." Okay, so you see how wisdom is leading you to deliverance, you getting saved, right? That's how important this wisdom is, okay? It isn't just wisdom. Oh yeah, wisdom is deeper than that, okay? But it says in verse 6, "When the ungodly perished, she delivered the righteous man who fled from the fire which fell down upon the 5 cities." All right, speaking about Lot, okay? Verse 7, "Of whose wickedness even to this day the wasteland that smoketh is a testimony, and plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness. I read that again. And plants bearing fruit that never come to ripeness, and a standing pillar of salt is a monument of an unbelieving soul. Okay. And we know that to be Lot's wife. Okay. Verse 8. It says, for regarding not wisdom. And this is the reason why all that happened. They didn't regard wisdom. So now you have an opportunity to regard wisdom, or else you will be destroyed. Because if you don't regard wisdom, which is life, then you're just seeking death, whether you know it or not, or believe it or not, I say, because everybody knows now. All right. It's rather you believe it or not. Okay. Verse 8. For regarding not wisdom, they get not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good. All right. So wisdom will show you those things that are good. Okay. Going back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 18, as it says, for so the ways of them which lived on the earth were reformed, and men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee. How? By regarding wisdom, and wisdom showing them the things that's pleasing to the Lord. Right? Let's go up to verse 10. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9 and verse 10. It says, O send her out of thy holy heavens, and from the throne of thy glory. That's where wisdom is. It sits by the throne. That being present, she may labor with me, that I may know what is pleasing unto thee. Okay. And in my last lesson, I was going into that delight, that pleasure. If the Lord has that in you, that goes a long way. Okay. So wisdom can give you that insight. Okay. On what the Lord likes. Before you make a move, before you make a decision, you can get counsel. Okay. You can go do that. That can come into your mind, or you might think, what would Yahushua do? Would he do that? Would he do this? And you moving based off of those things, not just based off of your flesh. Like, oh, I feel like doing this. I feel like doing that. All right. Having discernment. Okay. Now going back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 10 and verse 8 again, it says, for regarding not wisdom, they gat not only this hurt, that they knew not the things which were good, right, because they didn't regard wisdom, but also left behind them to the world a memorial of their foolishness, so that in the things wherein they offended, they could not so much as be hid. All right, because we speak about that to this day. It's a monument for disobedience towards the Lord. There was all kind of lewdness going on in those cities, specifically Sodom and Gomorrah, famously known. Okay, that got burned up with in those cities. Okay, so when you go against the Lord, that's what happens. When you're wicked, that's what happens. All right, they should have repented, but they didn't. So now we got that example, and now we're about to have the greatest example, which is going to be Babylon the Great being destroyed. Okay, and the elect delivered up out of this place. Okay, verse 9. It says, but wisdom delivered from pain those that attended upon her. Right. And you had Lot in that time. All right. He was an upright man, a just upright man, one that feared the Lord. All right. He walked with wisdom. OK. So the Lord didn't leave him in there. The Lord sent those angels and got him out of there, man. OK. Through wisdom. All right. So when you walk in with wisdom, in the fear of the Lord, it's going to take you a long way, and it's going to take you towards deliverance. Okay. And that's the point that I'm elaborating this, and that she will teach you those things that are pleasing unto the Lord. And if you're pleasing the Lord, then what? Then you're going to be delivered. Okay. The Lord is going to give you the power, the strength to go through whatever you have to go through. And he's going to deliver you, man. When trouble comes, you're going to be safe. Everybody else, they will not. Matter of fact, really quick, I just want to grab Sirach chapter 1 and verse. I'll start at verse 20. It says, the root of wisdom is to fear the Lord. So the root of this wisdom we're talking about is you fearing the Lord. That's how you get access to that. And if you fear the Lord more, you will get more. Okay. And I will say, because I said that's how you get access to that. I will say that the Lord has to send wisdom down to you. Okay, you don't just get wisdom just because you want it. It has to be given to you because it is a gift. Just like how Solomon was asking for it. Okay, but continuing on, Sirach chapter 1 in verse 20, the root of wisdom is to fear the Lord, and the branches thereof are long life, and that long life is immortality. Okay, as Solomon said, moreover, by her I will obtain immortality. Okay, because that's where wisdom is taking us, to the kingdom, to immortality. Verse 21 is the point, though. It says, the fear of the Lord driveth away sins. So if you fear the Lord, you're going to be sinning less. It says, and where it is present, so whoever abides in the fear of the Lord, it turneth away wrath. You see? So if you fear the Lord, wrath isn't going to come towards you. Now, you will be tested. You'll be tried. Okay? And that can look like anything. That can look like a multitude of things. But the Lord is going to have wisdom on you to do what? To strengthen you to go through whatever. Okay? To influence you, to guide you, to help you. Okay? And that's something we definitely need in these times, because we're in a hell of a time. We're in perilous times as we go into even worse perilous times, man. Okay? All kind of stuff is going down right now with Donald Trump. Okay, with basically just prophecy moving forward. And if you can't see that, then you tripping, because prophecy is clearly moving forward. Okay. Now I want to jump back to Wisdom of Solomon chapter 10. And let's get we're gonna start at verse 10. We're gonna read down some. It says, when the righteous fled from his brother's wrath, she guided him in right path, shewed him the kingdom of God, and gave him knowledge of holy things, made him rich in his travails, and multiplied the fruit of his labors. Right. Believing that's speaking about Jacob. Okay. All right, verse 11. I might read a couple of verses straight through. It says, in the covetousness of such as oppressed him, she stood by him and made him rich, and defended him from his enemies, and kept him safe from those that lay in wait. And in a sore conflict, she gave him the victory, that he might know that godliness is stronger than all. Right. Wisdom is stronger than all. The light is stronger than all. Light is stronger than darkness. Okay. Continuing on. Verse 13. When the righteous was sold, she forsook him not, but delivered him from sin. She went down with him into the pit. All right, I believe in speaking about Joseph, verse 14, and left him not in bonds till she brought him the scepter of the kingdom and power against those that oppressed him. As for them that had accused him, she shewed them to be liars and gave him perpetual glory. Okay. So wisdom is going to stand by your side, stand with you and comfort you and help you and guide you and deliver you. Okay. And give you a good outcome at the end. Okay. Now I want to get down to verse 16. It says, Wisdom of Solomon 10 and 16. It says, she entered into the soul of the servant of the Lord. And I want to stop right there in that precept, because that's a heavy, heavy, heavy point. Wisdom is going to enter into what? Holy souls. Okay. Those that serve the Lord. It says she entered into the soul of the servant of the Lord. So if you're not a servant of the Lord, how is wisdom going to enter in? If you don't fear the Lord, how is wisdom going to enter in? It's not. And if wisdom is not going to enter in, then what else is going to enter in besides that? A lot of darkness. Let me grab a quick precept. And we know wisdom is that light. Okay. Now let's grab Matthew chapter 6 and verse 22. It says, "The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light." Right. You focus on wisdom, fearing Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, then you're going to be full of that light if you seriously focus on it. Okay. It says, verse 23, but of thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? Right. Okay. So if that light is not in you, then it's darkness in you. If somebody isn't serving the Lord, wisdom is not in them. Darkness is in them. So you have to take heed to that. Okay. It says in verse 16, she entered into the soul of the servant of the Lord and withstood dreadful kings in wonders and signs. Right. It says verse 17, rendered to the righteous a reward of their labors. You see, it says guided them in a marvelous way and was unto them for a cover by day and a light of stars in the night season, brought them through the Red Sea and led them through much water, but she drowned their enemies and cast them up out of the bottom of the deep. You see? So wisdom being with us is very powerful, man. Okay, it's very, very powerful. And you really want to tap into that spirit, because as things get more and more chaotic, we're going to need that. Let me grab another precept. This is Sirach chapter Sirach chapter 1 and verse 11. It says, "The fear of the Lord is honor and glory and gladness and a crown of rejoicing." Verse 12, "The fear of the Lord maketh a merry heart and giveth joy and gladness in a long life." Verse 13, "Whoso feareth the Lord, it shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death." You see? Verse 14 even, it says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." You see? It's the beginning of wisdom. It's the root of wisdom. It says, "And it was created with the faithful in the womb." Right. All right. With the elect. All right. Who that gift of faith has been given to, which is through wisdom. Okay. And I'm really going to stop there. And that's going to basically conclude the part 2. And Lord's will, this was edifying and, exhortational. It exhorted somebody out there. I know it exhorted me. Through that wisdom, we're going to get the victory. Okay. Look what wisdom has done in the past. All right. With our ancestors, Joseph, David, Solomon. Okay. And all of them, all of the righteous. Okay. The Lord giving that special gift of faith. All right. To his servants in wisdom. All right. And look what happened, Susanna even, it's a lot of examples. Okay. But that is what pleases the Lord. That's what pleased the Lord. All right. Salakia. But yeah, that's basically the point. Lord's will, this edified you. And I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh Bashim Al Shah for giving me the spirit and power to make this lesson. Until next time, Kamra Sharala Shalom.